Okay, this is from the Used Companion magazine of April 28th of 1910. Now you know that baseball is always the American thing and stuff, so here we have a story that we'll read to you, The New England and Other Matters by Jennifer Boyer.
New England and Other Matters. Baseball is the American blood when spring arrives, and the pictures upon the cover of the Companion this week need no explanation or description. Through the coming months, until there is frost in the air again, thousands of diamonds in all parts of the country will be scenes of exciting battles between rival nines, cheered on by frenzied throngs of spectators. After the school and college championships are settled, there will be baseball at all the summer resorts. And through the whole season, from April till October, there are the pennant fights in the many professional leagues. The players from many professional leagues and from the little fellows playing scrub on the back lot to the high-salaried stars of the big leagues number untold thousands, and the spectators many millions every year. The great American game is now half a century old, and its popularity has spread in recent years over the seas to Japan, Australia, and the other distant lands. It was 2 years ago this month that Chelsea, Massachusetts, was swept by the Great Fire, and its recovery is a splendid illustration of American courage and energy in the face of a crushing calamity. In the 2 years, nearly $6 million worth of new buildings have been completed, and there will be more building this year than a year ago. Besides public buildings and business blocks, tenement homes for 10,000 people have been erected. In every way, the new city is a great improvement over the old. Although only 1/5 of the burned area has been occupied, the city has regained 4/5 of its assessed valuation. France dedicated an imposing monument the other day to an American of whom few of his fellow countrymen in this generation ever heard. It was Horace Wells, a pioneer of modern dentistry, who was born in Hartford, Vermont in 1815 and died in New York in 1848. He was one of 3 or 4 who claimed the discovery of anesthesia, but his claims were denied official and scientific recognition. The French monument was erected in one of the leading squares of Paris, and government officials and many distinguished scientists from all over Europe joined in the unveiling ceremonies. A monument to Dr. Wells stands in Bushnell Park, Hartford, Connecticut. Less than 1/4 of the available water power of Maine rivers is thus far utilized, according to figures carefully prepared by the Commissioner of Industrial and Labor Statistics in the state. He finds that there are now in use in Maine almost exactly 3,000 water wheels, developing 343,000 horsepower. Although Maine has developed more water power than any other state in the Union, except New York and California, it has still over 1 million horsepower waiting to be harnessed to the wheels of industry. The next generation is certainly to see many great manufacturing plants built on the shores of the Penobscot, Connecticut, Androscoggin, St. Croix, St. John, Saco, and the numerous smaller rivers which drain the great interior of the Pine Tree State. Not long ago, a dispatch which was sent out to the newspapers from Salem, Massachusetts, in mentioning a local happening, said there was almost as much excitement here as there was in the old days when witches were burned. In the interest of historical accuracy, and for the good name of New England, this demands a protest. Witches were never burned in Salem, or elsewhere in New England, although an occasional reference like the above serves to keep alive an idea that such was in the case. In this particular instance, the allusion is the more inexcusable in coming from Salem itself. It was bad enough to imprison and hang the alleged witches in those old days of superstition and bigotry, but that was not so bad as burning would have been. In all, during the second half of the 17th century, there were 32 victims of the witchcraft delusion in New England, of whom 4 were hanged in Boston and the others in Salem. If this seems a large number, and if much shame has stained the name of New England, as a result of this sad business, it may be noted that during the 16th and 17th centuries, fully 100,000 persons were executed in Germany for witchcraft, 75,000 in France, 30,000 in Great Britain, and proportionate numbers in other countries of Europe. In view of these appalling figures, upon which relatively little stress has been laid by historians, New England's share in the delusion of the period was very insignificant. Moreover, be it remembered that the mania did not result in any deaths in New England except upon the gallows. Only a few are left of the old toll bridges, which were once numerous across New England rivers. Still less common in this section of the country are the toll gates. The only toll gate in Vermont is at the foot of Bromley Mountain, on the road from Manchester to Peru and Bonneville. It was cartered in 1842 for the maintenance of a turnpike road 5 miles in length. It is on the direct road from Boston to Saratoga, and was a paying prostitution for its owners until the building of the railroads 60 years ago. Since then, the revenue has been small until within the past few years, when the automobile travel between New York and the White Mountains has fattened and depleted treasury of the company. Last year, over 1,600 automobiles paid $50 each to pass through the gate. The awful toll paid to the sea by the fishermen of Gloucester is shown by some figures recently complied. Before 1830, no accurate records were kept, but since then, years 779 Gloucester fishing vessels have been lost, involving the deaths of 5,300 sailors. These sailors left behind over 1,000 widows and over 2,000 children. Such is the peril of the fisherman's life, and the dread that lurks ever in the fisherman's home. The Gloucester fleet now consists of 275 sails. So we see that in the 80 years a fleet almost 3 times as large as the present fleet has been lost in the storms of the Atlantic. This grim total would be largely increased if we had the figures for the 2 centuries before 1830. The extent of the Gloucester fisher business is indicated by the announcement that the total catch of the Gloucester vessels in 1909 was 125 million pounds. Boston is the leading center of the fresh fish trade of the country, but Gloucester remains, as for generations, the one great center of the American fish packing business.
All right, so I hope you've enjoyed these readings. Be sure to sub me and join me as a friend, and we'll bring you some more readings. Bye-bye now.